Hello. Uh, Welcome to Beginner's Guide to Beyblade, I guess. So, in all intents and purposes, this is just for uh, beginners if you're a newcomer to Beyblade. So, today we'll be talking about types, ratchet heights, and how to identify them, as well as bits and directions of spin. So, first we have an attack blade. This is Spinosaurus, also known as Tyranno Roar. So this is an attack blade. In Beyblade, we have four types: attack, defense, stamina, and balance. This is an attack blade. Attack blades usually have a more aggressive shape or a more rougher shape, so that's why the shape is a bit aggressive. Then next we have Night Mail, the defense type. So defense types are usually both rough and smooth for its shape, so it can either deflect or tank hits from attack types. Then we have Wizard Rod, which is a stamina type. Stamina types are either they conserve energy through their shape, or from their shape they deplete energy from your opponent. Then we have Samurai Caliber, which is a balance type. So balance types usually have two or more types integrated into the design. But in the case of Caliber, it's both round and squarish at the same time, is how I would best describe it. So you notice that we have two kinds of prongs here. That being BX and UX, BX being the basic line, UX being the unique line. Also, I would like to call it the gimmick line, because every single UX bay has a gimmick. Now, we're moving on to left spin, which is our main boy here, Dragoon. So how to identify between spin? You just look at the arrows here on the bit chip, or the middle, I guess. So depending on the blade, they will always have these arrows pointing. So if you're going to identify if they go left or right, you could always refer to the arrows. Then we have a CX bay. This consists of a lock chip, a main blade, and an assist blade. So these three combine into your CX blade, which it would be a bit confusing at first, but over time you play, you will understand how to use CX bays through customization and different case uses. Now, next we are going to talk about the ratchets. Here is a 450 ratchet, also known as a 50 height ratchet. So how you identify ratchets is through looking at the shape, or you just count the knobs, but I prefer looking through the shape. So here we have a short octagon with ribs on the side of it. Then we have 60, which is the preferred height for a lot of people. So 60 just has a regular circular base, but you can also count the knobs on the side, so there's 6 knobs here. Then we have 570. 70 also has a hexagon, but it is a taller hexagon with some bits rising here. The sides of it rising up angularly. Then we have 980. So the thing about 80 ratchets is that they have a outer skirting. So this outer skirting is how you would identify an 80 ratchet, but you can again read the knobs. They also have a raised base as well. So there is also another thing you can identify from counting the ratchets, is that each ratchet has different protrusions, and how you identify them is just counting the protrusions. So 5 has 5 protrusions, 1 has 1 protrusion, 4 has 4, 9 has 9, etc., etc. But 0 is a special case, because even though it has 3 protrusions, those protrusions go down, and it is generally smooth. Then we have the second type of ratchets, being simple ratchets. Simple ratchets only – use two parts to assemble itself. but you don't really need to take it out. So this is a 455, as you can see, 4 protrusions and then 55 height. So it's a bit harder to count the knobs, but Takara hasn't released much simple ratchets, so it's pretty easy to understand and pretty easy to identify. 965, again, count the knobs, but it's a 9 protrusion ratchet. And then we have the current tallest ones are 85 height. This is 385, which is currently the tallest ratchet. Then next we have bits. This is flat, an attack type bit. A lot of attack types share the same quality, being a flat bit, a flat tip for a bit. Then we have defense, being a sharp tip, so when it leans it gets a bit more surface contact. Then we have stamina, this being ball, which has a rounder tip to conserve more energy and gives the bay more stamina. Then we have the special cases, being the balance type bits, which combine 2 or more properties of one of each type. So I would say that if you want to test it out, you either look at the shape and choose which bits that suit it. But because of how Beyblade is mostly a luck game, 50% in my opinion, you could just play around with the parts and see which one works. There are different ways to play them, and how you play with them is also dependent on the user. Next, we'll move on to string launchers. How to identify them? It's easy, just look at the middle. The left string launcher, which is the blue one, has a more aggressive shape than the right string launcher, which by understanding this, you could not accidentally take just a right string launcher. I see a few newcomers that don't know how to identify, or just forgets that they have a left spin on the deck. So yeah, that is all for today. Next video we will be talking about the expanded line and the bit derivatives.